The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor 3 inches from Nina Ripley's feet. She didn't flinch. Every head in Romano's, the most exclusive restaurant in the city, turned toward table 7. The Saturday night chatter died like someone had cut the sound. Crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across white tablecloths. The air smelled like truffle oil and old money, but now it tasted like fear. "You think I won't do it?" The man's voice was silk wrapped around steel. "You think because you're wearing that cute little apron, you're untouchable?" Nina's fingers trembled as she gripped her serving tray, but her voice came out steady. "Sir, I already explained. The kitchen is out of the Dover Sole. I can recommend the—" His hand slammed on the table. Silverware jumped. His 3 companions, all sharp suits and dead eyes, leaned back, watching, waiting. This was Vincent Stark. Even Nina, who'd only worked at Romano's for 3 months, knew that name. Everyone in the city knew that name. You didn't become the most powerful man in the underground without leaving a trail of broken bones and disappeared enemies. The rumors said he owned half the police force. The other rumors said he owned the other half too. And she just told him no. "Do you know who I am?" Vincent rose from his chair. He was tall, maybe 6'3", with silver streaking through his dark hair. His suit probably cost more than Nina made in 6 months. His eyes were the color of a winter storm, gray, cold, and dangerous. Nina's heart hammered against her ribs. Every survival instinct screamed at her to apologize, to grovel, to run. But something else burned hotter than fear. Something that had been building for 26 years of being invisible, powerless, stepped on. "I know exactly who you are, Mr. Stark." Her voice didn't shake. She couldn't believe it didn't shake. "But we're out of the Dover Sole. Being you doesn't change that." The restaurant had gone so quiet she could hear her own pulse in her ears. Vincent's jaw tightened. He moved around the table with the fluid grace of a predator. His cologne hit her, sandalwood and danger. He stopped close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. "Say that again," he whispered. This was it. This was where she apologized. Where she backed down. Where she survived. Nina thought about her mother's funeral 2 months ago. About the medical bills that had piled up like accusations. About her landlord's threats. About every man who'd ever made her feel small, powerless, less than. Something snapped inside her chest. "I said." Nina met his storm gray eyes without blinking. "Being you doesn't change the fact that we're out of fish. Sir." The silence stretched like a wire pulled too tight. Then Vincent did something nobody expected. He smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile of a shark who just spotted something interesting in the water. "You've got fire." He leaned in close enough that his breath stirred her hair. "I like fire. But do you know what I do to people who disrespect me?" "I'm not disrespecting you." Nina's knuckles were white on the tray. "I'm doing my job." "Your job." He laughed low and dark. "Sweetheart, you just committed suicide and don't even know it." He reached out slowly, deliberately. His fingers caught her chin, tilting her face up to the light. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. The touch was gentle, almost tender. It terrified her more than the broken glass. "I dare you," Nina heard herself say. The words came from somewhere deep and reckless. "I dare you to slap me right here in front of everyone and see if you'll what?" Vincent's eyes flickered with something she couldn't read. Amusement? Curiosity? Rage? "See if I won't press charges." She was shaking now but not stepping back. "See if I won't make sure every newspaper in the city knows that the great Vincent Stark hits waitresses in public. See if your reputation survives that." The muscle in his jaw twitched. His hand was still on her face. For 3 heartbeats the entire world balanced on the edge of a knife. Then Vincent released her and stepped back. He straightened his cuffs with practiced precision. "What's your name?" "Nina." "Nina." He tasted the word like wine. "Nina, you just made this evening very interesting." He pulled a money clip from his pocket, solid gold probably, and peeled off several $100 bills. He dropped them on the table. For the inconvenience of not getting my fish. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Nina? I'll see you again. Very soon. It sounded like a promise and a threat wrapped together. Vincent and his entourage walked out. The moment the door closed, the restaurant exhaled collectively. Conversations resumed like someone had pressed play. Nina's manager, Paolo, rushed over, his face red with panic and fury. But Nina barely heard his frantic whispers about, "Do you have any idea what you've done? And you're fired, effective immediately." She was staring at the money on the table, at the chair Vincent had occupied, at the champagne glass still glittering in pieces on the floor. Her phone buzzed in her apron pocket. Unknown number. The text message made her blood run cold. Brave girl. Stupid girl. Tomorrow 8 p.m. The address below. Come alone or I'll come find you. And trust me, Nina Ripley, you don't want me to come find you. V. How did he know her last name? How did he get her number? What had she just done? Nina's hands were still shaking when she unlocked the door to her apartment at midnight. The studio was small enough that she could see every corner from where she stood. The Murphy bed she never bothered folding up, the kitchenette with its broken burner, the bathroom door that didn't close all the way. The window looked out on a brick wall. Rent was still $1,400 a month. She dropped her purse on the counter and stared at her reflection in the microwave door. Same dark blonde hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Same green eyes that her mother used to say were too honest for your own good. Same face that had apparently just committed career suicide. Professional suicide might be the least of her problems. Her phone buzzed again. Not Vincent this time. Jade. Girl, you still alive? Paolo's losing his mind. Called me 3 times asking if I knew where you lived. Said you assaulted a customer? Nina typed back quickly. I'm fine. And I didn't assault anyone. It was complicated. Complicated enough to get fired? Yeah. Damn. You need me to come over. Nina smiled despite everything. Jade Chun, no Jade Anderton, she corrected herself, had been her only real friend since she'd moved to the city 4 years ago. They'd met at a different restaurant, bonded over terrible customers and worse management, and somehow maintained the friendship even as their lives went in different directions. Jade had gotten out of the service industry, landed a job at a marketing firm. She had a 401k now, health insurance, a future. Nina had medical debt and a dead-end job she just lost. I'm okay. Long story. Tell you tomorrow. You better. Love you, babe. Love you too. Nina set the phone down and walked to the window. Even though it only showed a brick wall, she could see the city beyond it. The glittering skyline, the expensive restaurants and penthouse apartments where people like Vincent Stark lived. A different world. One she'd never belonged to. The memory of his hand on her face made her shiver. She should be terrified. She was terrified. But underneath the fear ran something else. A current of exhilaration she didn't want to examine too closely. For 30 seconds she'd had power. For 30 seconds, a man who made the entire city bow down had been the one caught off guard. It was the same feeling she'd had 3 weeks before her mother died. Nina walked to the small desk in the corner and pulled out the bottom drawer. Underneath old bills and expired coupons was a photograph. Her mother, 20 years younger, wearing a wedding dress and laughing. She looked radiant. Alive. Nothing like the hollow-eyed woman who'd wasted away in a hospital bed, destroyed by cancer and a healthcare system that valued profit over people. You would have told me I was an idiot, Nina whispered to the photo. You would have said to keep my head down. Stay safe. Her mother, Sarah Ripley, had been a waitress too. Had worked 3 jobs to raise Nina alone after Nina's father disappeared when she was 2. Had taught her to smile through harassment, to accept bad tips gracefully, to never make waves. Had died at 53 with nothing to show for a lifetime of swallowing her pride. Nina had held her mother's hand in those final days and made a silent promise. She wouldn't disappear quietly. She wouldn't spend her whole life being invisible. Though she probably should have picked a better moment for her first act of rebellion than challenging a mafia boss. Nina pulled out her laptop and did what she should have done before opening her mouth at the restaurant. She Googled Vincent Stark. The results were illuminating. Hundreds of articles. Dozens of photos. Vincent at charity galas in $1,000 tuxedos. Vincent at restaurant openings. Vincent shaking hands with the mayor, with city councilmen, with the police commissioner. But the real information was in the darker corners of the internet. The forums. The true crime blogs. The Reddit threads. Vincent Stark had inherited his father's empire 15 years ago at age 28. He'd consolidated power with ruthless efficiency, eliminating rivals, absorbing their operations. Money laundering. Extortion. Protection rackets. The rumors went darker, disappearances, murders, but nothing proven. Nothing that stuck. He was untouchable. And she dared him to slap her. Nina laughed, slightly hysterical. She was going to die. She was absolutely going to end up in the river wearing concrete shoes or whatever it was that mobsters did to people. Her phone lit up. Another message from the unknown number. Can't sleep? Neither can I. I keep thinking about those eyes. So much anger in such a pretty package. What made you so angry, Nina? Her breath caught. How did he? Another message. Don't bother lying. I know everything about you now. Sarah Ripley died March 15th. Medical debt. $187,000. Your father unknown. Current bank balance. $847. Rent due in 12 days. You just lost your job. You're drowning and you decided to pick a fight with a shark. Why? Nina's hands clenched around the phone. The violation of it, her privacy, her life, her pain, made rage bloom hot in her chest. She typed back before she could stop herself. Because I'm tired of men like you thinking you own the world. The response came instantly. Men like me do own the world, sweetheart. The sooner you accept that, the longer you'll survive. 8 p.m. tomorrow. Don't be late. And Nina? We're something nice. We're going somewhere special. And if I don't come? Then I'll have to visit your friend Jade. Pretty girl. Works at Morrison & Associates, right? Lives in that apartment on 7th Street? Would hate for her to get caught in the crossfire of your bad decisions. Nina's blood turned to ice. He was threatening Jade. Because of her. Because she couldn't keep her mouth shut. You leave her alone. Then be there tomorrow. Alone. On time. In a dress. Are we clear? Nina wanted to throw the phone across the room. She wanted to scream. She wanted to call the police, but what would she say? A criminal investigated me and sent me threatening texts? The police probably worked for him anyway. She was trapped. Crystal clear, she typed back. Good girl. Sleep well, Nina. Dream of me. She did throw the phone then. It bounced off the bed and onto the floor. Nina sank down, back against the wall, and pulled her knees to her chest. This was insane. This was a nightmare. 24 hours ago, her biggest problem was making rent. Now she was tangled up with a mafia boss who apparently had infinite resources and zero boundaries. But as she sat there in her tiny apartment, surrounded by her tiny life, Nina realized something. She wasn't just afraid. She was curious. What did Vincent Stark want with a broke waitress? Why go through all this trouble? He could have had her killed in the restaurant. Could have destroyed her life with a phone call. Instead he was... What? Playing with her? And that moment when their eyes had locked, when his hand had been on her face, she'd seen something flicker in those storm gray eyes. Something that wasn't cruelty or rage. Something almost like recognition. Like he'd seen someone who understood something he thought he was alone in understanding. Nina pulled herself up and walked to her closet. She pushed past the work clothes and yoga pants. In the very back, still in dry cleaning plastic, was a black dress. She'd bought it 2 years ago for a wedding she'd ended up being too sick to attend. It was simple, elegant, probably inappropriate for whatever Vincent had planned. She pulled it out and held it up to the mirror. This is crazy, she told her reflection. You know this is crazy, right? Her reflection didn't argue. Nina thought about her mother's quiet life. About all those years of bowing down, staying small, playing it safe. about where that had gotten her. She thought about Jade, innocent Jade who didn't deserve to be pulled into this mess. She thought about Vincent's smile, dangerous and intrigued and unlike anything she'd ever seen. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. she'd find out what he wanted. And maybe, just maybe, she'd find out what she was actually capable of when she stopped being afraid. The address led to the penthouse of the Meridian Tower, the most expensive building in the city. Nina stood in the lobby at 7:58 p.m., feeling ridiculous in her black dress and the only heels she owned. The doorman had looked at her like she was lost, but when she'd mentioned Mr. Stark's name, his entire demeanor changed. Suddenly she was Miss Ripley, and being escorted to a private elevator that required a key card. The elevator opened directly into the penthouse. Nina stepped out into a space that belonged in a magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the glittering city. Modern art on the walls, originals probably. Furniture that cost more than cars. Everything was sharp angles and expensive taste. Vincent stood by the windows holding 2 glasses of wine. He traded the suit for dark slacks and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. It should have made him look casual. It didn't. He looked like a lion pretending to be domesticated. "You came," he said. Not surprised. Satisfied. "You threatened my best friend. What choice did I have?" "You always have a choice, Nina." He walked toward her, offering one of the glasses. "You could have run. Gone to the police. Disappeared. Would any of that have worked?" "No." He smiled. "But it would have been smarter than coming here alone." Nina took the wine but didn't drink. "What do you want?" "Direct." "I like that." Vincent moved to the leather sofa and sat, gesturing for her to join him. When she remained standing, his smile widened. Still defiant. "Even better. I'm not here to entertain you, Mr. Stark." "Vincent." "And yes, you are." He set his glass down. "Do you know what I've built, Nina? I control this city. Politicians, police, businesses, they all answer to me. And do you know what the most exhausting part is?" She didn't answer. "Everyone is terrified of me. Every conversation is people groveling, lying, telling me what they think I want to hear." He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "And then you, a waitress I could destroy with a text message, you look me in the eye and dare me to hit you. You weren't stupid. You were angry. Real anger. Honest anger. So this is what? You collect people who aren't afraid of you. I collect people who are useful." Vincent stood again, closing the distance between them. "And you, Nina Ripley, just became very useful to me. I don't understand." "I'm being challenged," he said quietly. "Someone is moving against my organization, stealing shipments, turning my people. I need to draw them out, and to do that I need to appear vulnerable." Nina's stomach dropped. Vulnerable how? Vincent reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture was intimate, possessive. "I need a weakness. Someone they'll think they can use against me. You want me to be bait. I want you to be my girlfriend." Nina actually laughed. "You're insane. 3 months. Public appearances. You'll move in here, attend events with me, act appropriately smitten." His hand trailed down her arm. "In exchange, your debt disappears. All $187,000. Plus $100,000 in cash when it's over. You'll never have to serve another plate of overpriced fish in your life." The number made her dizzy. "And when your enemies come for me? They won't succeed." His voice turned cold. "I protect what's mine. I'm not yours. For 3 months you will be." Vincent lifted her chin, forcing eye contact. "Every other option you have is worse. You have no job. No prospects. Debt you'll never escape. I'm offering you a way out. By making me a target. By making you rich and free." He leaned in close enough that she could feel the heat of him. "Tell me you haven't thought about it. Tell me you haven't wondered what it would be like to have power instead of constantly being powerless." He was too close. Too intense. Nina's heart raced, but she couldn't tell if it was fear or something far more dangerous. "Why me? Why not hire an actress? Someone trained for this. Because they wouldn't be convincing. Vincent's thumb brushed her lower lip. My enemies will investigate anyone I'm with. They'll dig into every corner of your life. And do you know what they'll find? A woman with every reason to hate men like me. A woman who would never choose this life. Which makes it believable when you do. This is insane. This is survival. Yours and mine. He stepped back, giving her space to breathe. I'll have a contract drawn up. Everything legal. Protected. You can have your friend's lawyer review it if you want. How generous. You threaten Jade and then let her lawyer read your contract. Vincent's smile was sharp. I never said I was a good man, Nina. I said I was a useful one. She should run. Every instinct screamed it. But Nina thought about the debt collector's calls. About her empty apartment. About her mother dying with nothing. About 3 months in financial freedom. What exactly would I have to do? Vincent's eyes glittered with triumph. Be seen with me. Look like you're falling in love. Share my bed. He held up a hand when she tensed. Or at least make it look like you do. I'm not interested in unwilling partners. Separate bedrooms if you prefer. But in public, you're mine completely. And after 3 months? You disappear. New city, new life, new identity if you want. I'll make sure you're untraceable. Nina walked to the windows, needing distance. The city spread out below her, all those lights, all those lives. Somewhere down there was the girl she'd been yesterday. Invisible, powerless, slowly drowning. She could be that girl again. Let this moment pass. Stay safe. Or she could jump. I want 200,000, she heard herself say. And Jade gets protection too. Full security. If anyone even looks at her wrong because of me, the deal's off. Vincent appeared beside her, reflected in the glass. Done. And I want it in writing that you won't. That I don't have to. She couldn't finish. You have my word. I don't force women, Nina. I won't start with you. His voice softened slightly. Though I suspect that won't be the problem you think it will be. The arrogance should have repulsed her. Instead, heat flushed through her body. 3 months, she whispered. 3 months. Vincent extended his hand. Nina stared at it, at the decision it represented. Then she placed her hand in his. His fingers closed around hers, warm and firm and inescapable. Welcome to my world, sweetheart, Vincent said. Try not to get killed. The first week was a crash course in Vincent Stark's world. Nina moved into the penthouse on Monday. By Tuesday she had a new wardrobe, designer labels she couldn't pronounce. Wednesday brought a stylist, a personal trainer, and a security detail that followed her everywhere. Thursday, Vincent's attorney delivered a contract so thorough it specified everything from public displays of affection, required, to sleeping arrangements, separate unless mutually agreed upon. Friday night, they had their first public appearance. Stop fidgeting, Vincent murmured as the car pulled up to Castellano's, an upscale restaurant where reservations took months. His hand rested possessively on her knee. You look perfect. Nina glanced down at the emerald dress that probably cost more than her old monthly salary. I look like I'm playing dress up. You look like you belong. His thumb traced circles on her leg, the touch casual but electric. That's what matters. The restaurant went quiet when they entered. Nina felt every eye tracking them as Vincent's hand moved to the small of her back, guiding her through the space. Whispers followed like a wake. Is that Stark? Who's the girl? Never seen her before. They were seated at the best table. Vincent ordered without consulting her, somehow knowing she preferred white wine to red, that she was allergic to shellfish. It should have annoyed her. Instead, it unsettled her. He'd done his homework. You're staring, Vincent said, not looking up from his menu. You know I'm allergic to shellfish. I know everything about you, Nina. I told you that. He finally met her eyes. Your favorite color is blue. You drink your coffee black because you can't afford cream. You have a scar on your left knee from falling off a bike when you were 9. You read romance novels but hide them under your bed. Should I continue? Heat crept up her neck. That's invasive. That's thorough. There's a difference. He reached across the table and took her hand. To anyone watching, it looked romantic. His voice dropped low. Smile, sweetheart. You're supposed to be falling for me, remember? Nina forced a smile. How am I doing? Terribly. You look like you want to stab me with your butter knife. I'm considering it. Vincent laughed. A real laugh that transformed his face. For a moment he didn't look like a dangerous criminal. He looked like a man enjoying dinner with a woman who challenged him. There, he said softly. That's better. That almost looked real. The problem was it had felt real. Dinner passed in a strange dance. Vincent played the attentive boyfriend perfectly. Leaning in to hear her better, sharing his food, telling stories that actually made her laugh. And Nina found herself forgetting this was an act. Found herself noticing things she shouldn't. The way his eyes crinkled when he smiled, the intelligence behind every word. The way he listened like what she said actually mattered. When his phone buzzed, the warmth vanished instantly. Vincent read the message, his expression darkening. We need to leave. What's wrong? Not here. He stood, throwing cash on the table. His hand gripped her elbow firmly as they walked out. The car was already waiting. Once inside, Vincent barked an address to the driver. His jaw was tight, fury radiating off him in waves. Vincent. One of my warehouses was hit tonight. While I was here visible with you. He looked at her then, something sharp in his gaze. Convenient timing. Nina's stomach dropped. You think I had something to do with it? Did you? Are you serious? I've been with you all night. You could have told someone where we'd be. Given them the window they needed. Anger flared hot and bright. You paranoid bastard. You dragged me into this nightmare. Put me in danger. And now you're accusing me of what? Working with your enemies? People I didn't even know existed a week ago. Vincent stared at her for a long moment. Then something shifted in his expression. You're right. I apologize. Nina blinked. What? You're right, he repeated. That was paranoid. And unfair. He ran a hand through his hair. The first ungraceful gesture she'd seen from him. This is... Someone is always 3 steps ahead. It's making me see threats everywhere. Even in your fake girlfriend? Especially there. He looked at her seriously. You're the unknown variable, Nina. Everyone else in my life, I understand their motivations. But you? You're unpredictable. Is that why you really chose me? Not because I'm believable, but because you want to figure me out. Vincent's smile was dangerous. Maybe both. The car stopped at a warehouse on the industrial edge of town. Vincent got out, then turned back. Stay here. Lock the doors. Like hell. Nina followed him out. We're supposed to be inseparable, remember? What kind of girlfriend stays in the car? The kind who wants to stay alive. Too late for that. I shook hands with the devil already. Something flickered in Vincent's eyes, respect maybe. Or desire. Stay behind me. Don't touch anything. Don't speak unless I tell you to. The warehouse was chaos. Men in suits everywhere, some shouting into phones, others examining the damage. Crates had been torn open, their contents gone. On the wall, spray painted in red. Tick-tock stark. Nina shivered despite herself. Boss. A tall man with a scar across his cheek approached. His eyes flicked to Nina with undisguised curiosity. They took everything. $3 million in merchandise. Security footage was wiped. Inside job. Vincent's voice was ice. Has to be. They knew exactly where to hit, when the guards would rotate. Vincent nodded slowly. Then his hand found Nina's, pulling her close against his side. This is Nina. My girlfriend. She goes where I go. Spread the word. Scarface's eyebrows rose. Boss, is that wise? If whoever's doing this finds out, they're supposed to find out. That's the point. Vincent looked down at Nina, and for the crowd he smiled. Bent down and pressed a kiss to her forehead. The gesture was tender, protective. It was also the first time he'd kissed her. Nina's breath caught. His lips were warm against her skin. His hand tightened on her waist. And when he pulled back, his eyes held a question she didn't know how to answer. "Come on," he murmured. "Let's go home." Home. The penthouse wasn't home. But the word sounded right in his voice. In the car, Nina finally found her courage. "Vincent? What was in those crates?" He looked at her for a long moment. "Do you really want to know?" "I'm in this now. I deserve to know what I'm risking my life for." Vincent poured himself a drink from the car's bar. "Weapons. High-grade military equipment. Worth about $3 million street value." He met her eyes. "Still feel good about our deal?" Nina should have been horrified. She should have demanded out. Instead she asked, "Who do you think is doing this?" Vincent's smile was slow and genuine. "You're full of surprises, Nina Ripley. You have no idea." The tension between them crackled like electricity. Vincent leaned closer, his hand cupping her face the way he had in the restaurant a week ago. But this time there was no audience. No performance. "I'm starting to get one," he whispered. And Nina realized with dawning horror and exhilaration, she was actually falling for him. 2 weeks into the arrangement, Nina woke to find Vincent's side of the bed warm. They'd been sharing the bedroom for 3 days now, not out of necessity, but because the lines between performance and reality had blurred somewhere between charity galas and late-night conversations. Nothing had happened, but every night, the space between them grew smaller. She found him in his office at 3 a.m., surrounded by files and photographs, a glass of whiskey in his hand. "Can't sleep?" she asked from the doorway. Vincent didn't look up. "Go back to bed, Nina. Not until you tell me what's wrong." She entered the room, pulling his robe tighter around herself. "You've been different since the warehouse. Distant. I'm trying to keep you alive. By shutting me out?" He finally looked at her, and the exhaustion in his eyes shocked her. "By finding the traitor before they use you against me." Nina moved closer, studying the photographs spread across his desk. Men in suits, surveillance photos, and then one image that made her blood freeze. A photo of her mother, young, maybe 25, standing next to a man Nina had never seen before. "Why do you have a picture of my mother?" Her voice came out strangled. Vincent's expression was unreadable. "When did she tell you your father left?" "When I was 2. He just disappeared." She never talked about him. Nina grabbed the photo with shaking hands. "Vincent, why do you have this?" He stood, moving to the window. "The man in that photo is Anthony Castellano. He was my father's underboss. He disappeared 26 years ago with $2 million in sensitive information that nearly destroyed the organization." The room tilted. No, my father wasn't." "Your father was Anthony Castellano, mob enforcer. My father's most trusted man until he betrayed him." Vincent turned to face her. "And 3 days ago I found out he's alive." Nina's legs gave out. She sank into the chair, the photograph trembling in her hands. "That's impossible. My mother would have told me. Your mother was trying to protect you. She changed her name, built a new life. Sarah Castellano became Sarah Ripley." Vincent's voice softened. "I think she succeeded. Until you walked into my restaurant and dared me to hit you. You knew." The betrayal cut deep. "You knew who I was when you made the deal." "No." Vincent crossed to her, kneeling so they were eye level. "I swear to you I didn't know. I found out 3 days ago when my people did a deep background check. Nina, I'm good at reading people. If I'd known, you would have seen it. But you didn't tell me. I was trying to figure out how." He reached for her hand but she pulled away. "Your father isn't just alive, Nina. I think he's the one targeting me." The words didn't make sense. Why would he? Revenge. My father ordered him killed when he ran. He survived barely. And now he's coming for me to finish what started a generation ago. Vincent pulled out another photo. A recent surveillance image of a man in his 50s, scarred and hardened by time. "Recognize him?" Nina stared at the stranger who was supposedly her father. She felt nothing. No recognition. No connection. He left us with nothing. My mother worked herself to death while he was alive somewhere. It looks that way. Rage, pure and incandescent, flooded through her. And now he's back? Now he cares about this world enough to burn it down, but he couldn't care enough to help his own daughter. Vincent stood, pulling her up with him. Nina, is that why I'm really here? You're using me as bait for my father. It started that way, Vincent admitted. But that's not what this is anymore. Then what is it? He cupped her face in both hands. It's me realizing that somewhere between your defiance and your fire, I stopped pretending. His thumb brushed her cheek. This isn't an act anymore, Nina. Not for me. Her heart hammered. You don't mean that. Don't I? He leaned in, his forehead resting against hers. You think I bring women to crime scenes? You think I let anyone see me like this, exhausted and uncertain? You've gotten under my skin, and it's dangerous as hell, but I can't seem to care. Vincent. The office door burst open. Scarface, whose name she'd learned was Marcus, rushed in, then froze seeing them. Boss, we have a problem. It's Donovan. Vincent's entire body went rigid. What about him? He's gone. His apartment's cleared out. And we found this. Marcus handed over a phone. On the screen was a message. She's prettier in person. Dad would have been proud. Who's Donovan? Nina asked. Vincent's expression turned to stone. My brother. The revelation hit like a physical blow. Your brother is working with my father? Half-brother. Different mothers. We grew up together. He's been my second in command for 10 years. Vincent's voice was hollow. I trusted him with everything. Vincent, I'm sorry. Don't. He pulled away from her, the walls slamming back up. This is exactly why attachments are weakness. This is why I shouldn't have. He stopped himself. Shouldn't have what? Let me in. Started to care. Nina grabbed his arm, forcing him to look at her. You think shutting down changes anything? Your brother already knows. My father already knows. Running from it now doesn't make us safer. It makes you safer when they realize you mean nothing to me. The words were meant to hurt. They did. But Nina saw through them. Liar. You're terrified because for the first time in your carefully controlled life, something matters more than power. Vincent's eyes flashed dangerously. You don't know what you're talking about. Then prove it. Kiss me like I mean nothing. Touch me like this is still just business. Nina stepped closer, challenging. Or admit that you're in as deep as I am. For 3 heartbeats, Vincent stared at her. Then he moved. His mouth crashed against hers, desperate and demanding. Nina gasped and he deepened the kiss, one hand tangling in her hair, the other pulling her flesh against him. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't sweet. It was raw need and frustrated desire and everything they'd been denying. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Vincent's eyes were storm-dark. We're in trouble, he whispered. Yeah, Nina agreed. We really are. Behind them, Marcus cleared his throat awkwardly. So, what's the play, boss? Vincent's hand found Nina's, their fingers intertwining. We end this. Together. The attack came at dawn. Nina woke to gunfire and Vincent shoving her out of bed. Bathroom. Now. Don't come out until I get you. Vincent. Go. She ran. Behind her, Vincent grabbed a gun from the nightstand. The penthouse erupted in chaos, shouting, breaking glass, more gunshots. Nina locked herself in the marble bathroom, heart threatening to explode from her chest. This was real. People were dying. Because of her. Because she'd made a deal with the devil and dragged everyone she loved into hell. The shooting stopped. Footsteps approached the bathroom door. Nina, it's me. Open up. Vincent. She unlocked the door and fell into his arms. He was bleeding from a cut on his temple but otherwise unharmed. They're gone, he said roughly. For now. How many? 2 of my men are dead. 3 wounded. His voice was flat. Controlled. Too controlled. They left a message. He handed her his phone. A video. Nina pressed play and her world imploded. Jade, bound to a chair, crying. Behind her stood a man Nina recognized from the photos, Donovan, Vincent's brother. And beside him, the stranger who was supposedly her father. "Hello, Vincent," Donovan said to the camera, his smile cold. "And hello, little sister. Surprise, family reunion." He stroked Jade's hair while she whimpered. "Here's how this works. You have 24 hours. Nina trades herself for her friend. Come to the old Riverside warehouse. Alone. If Vincent or any of his people show up, we kill them both and burn your empire to the ground." Anthony Castellano, Nina's father, finally spoke. His voice was rough, damaged. "You made a mistake involving her, Stark. She's my blood. My leverage now. Should have done your homework." The video ended. Nina couldn't breathe. "Jade. They have Jade because of me. Nina. I have to go. I have to trade myself." "Absolutely not." Vincent grabbed her shoulders. "It's a trap. They'll kill you both. Then what do we do? Let them murder my best friend." Tears streamed down her face. "She's innocent. She has nothing to do with this world, with your war with my father." "I know." Vincent's control cracked. "God, Nina, I know. But if you go, I lose you both. They're counting on you being emotional, making stupid decisions." "Stupid." She shoved him away. "She's there because you made me bait. Because you knew who I was. I told you I didn't know. But you used me anyway. You saw a desperate woman and you weaponized her." Nina was screaming now, weeks of fear and confusion and dangerous feelings pouring out. "I was supposed to be a job. 3 months and money. But you made me care. You made me think this meant something. And now the only person who ever gave a damn about me is going to die." Vincent's face went white. "You think this doesn't destroy me? You think I don't care what happens to you? I think you care about winning more than anything else. More than your brother. More than me. More than innocent people getting caught in your crossfire." She grabbed her phone, her hands shaking. "I'm going. You can't stop me. Nina, please." Vincent reached for her, but she stepped back. "Please don't do this. Let me think. Let me find another way." "There is no other way. You said it yourself. Attachments are weakness." She met his eyes, her heart shattering. "So let me go. Save your empire. It's what you're good at. What I'm good at." Something raw and broken flashed across Vincent's face. "I'm good at destroying everything I touch. My father. My brother. You. You were right, I shouldn't have let you in. Because now I can't breathe thinking about them hurting you. And that kind of fear makes people reckless." "Then be reckless with me." Nina's voice dropped to a whisper. "Help me save her. If we go, we both might die. Then we die. But I won't live knowing I could have saved her and chose not to." She touched his face gently. "You told me you protect what's yours. Was that a lie?" Vincent closed his eyes, leaning into her touch. "You're going to get us both killed." "Probably." He opened his eyes, and Nina saw the moment he made his decision. 24 hours. "I need 24 hours to plan this properly. Promise me you won't do anything stupid until then." She wanted to promise. But her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Tick-tock, Nina. Your friend is running out of time. And if you tell Vincent, I'll know. Dad's watching everything. Come now. Come alone. Or she dies screaming. D." A photo followed. Jade terrified, a gun to her head. Nina looked at Vincent. At this complicated, dangerous man she'd fallen for despite every reason not to. She memorized his face. The sharp jaw, the storm-gray eyes, the vulnerability he showed only to her. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Understanding dawned too late. "Nina, no." She ran. Out of the bathroom, through the destroyed penthouse toward the elevator. Vincent chased her, but she was faster, more desperate. The elevator doors closed between them. "Nina!" His anguished shout followed her down. In the lobby, Nina called the number from the text. Donovan answered on the first ring. Smart girl. I'm sending a car. If you hurt her. You're not in a position to make threats, little sister. Get in the car. Ditch your phone. Come alone. And Nina? Say goodbye to Vincent. You won't be seeing him again. The line went dead. Outside, a black SUV waited. Nina took one last look at the Meridian Tower. At the life she'd almost had, the man she'd almost loved. Then she got in the car and rode toward what was probably her death. But at least Jade might survive. At least something good might come from the wreckage of her choices. At least she'd die knowing she'd finally stood up instead of staying small. The SUV drove into the darkness, and Nina didn't look back. The riverside warehouse smelled like rust and river water. Nina's hands were zip-tied behind her back. They'd dragged her inside and thrown her into a chair next to Jade, who sobbed with relief at seeing her. Nina, God, why did you come? Why did you? Shoo. It's okay. I've got you. Nina's voice was steadier than she felt. Donovan circled them like a shark. He looked like Vincent, same height, same build, but where Vincent had controlled intensity, Donovan had wild cruelty. Touching. Really. The brave little waitress sacrificing herself. Let her go. You have me. That was the deal. The deal. Donovan laughed. There is no deal, sweetheart. You both die. Vincent gets the message that I took everything he loved. And Dad and I disappear with enough of his money to start over. Anthony Castellano emerged from the shadows. Up close, Nina could see her own eyes in his face. Her own stubborn jaw. The recognition twisted like a knife. You look like your mother, he said quietly. Don't. Nina's voice was ice. You don't get to talk about her. You abandoned us. I was protecting you. Vincent's father would have killed you both to get to me. So you let us starve instead? Let Mom work herself to death. Rage made her fearless. You're not my father. You're a coward who hid while his family suffered. Anthony's face hardened. Watch your mouth. Or what? You'll abandon me again. Nina laughed bitterly. You're using me for revenge against a man who never did anything to me. Vincent showed me more loyalty in 3 weeks than you did in 26 years. Vincent Stark is a monster, Anthony spat. Yeah? So are you. At least he owns it. Donovan's phone buzzed. He checked it and swore. We've got movement. 2 blocks out. Multiple vehicles. Vincent, Anthony said. I knew she'd tell him. I didn't. Nina protested. I came alone like you said. Donovan grabbed her face roughly. Then how did he find you? The warehouse door exploded inward. Vincent stood in the doorway, surrounded by a dozen armed men. His suit was torn. His face was cold fury. But when his eyes found Nina, something cracked in his expression. Let them go, Donovan. Or what, brother? Donovan pulled a gun and pressed it to Nina's temple. You'll shoot through her to get to me? Vincent's gun remained steady, aimed at Donovan's head. I could make that shot in my sleep. We both know it. Then why are you hesitating? Donovan's smile was vicious. Oh, this is precious. You actually fell for her. The great Vincent Stark, brought down by a waitress. Last chance. Let them go. Anthony moved behind Jade, his own weapon drawn. Stalemate, Stark. We all walk away or we all die here. Nina's mind raced. 4 guns. 2 hostages. Vincent's men couldn't fire without risking her or Jade. Her father and Donovan knew it. This ended bloody no matter what. Unless she changed the equation. Vincent, Nina said clearly. Do you trust me? His eyes locked on hers. 1,000 conversations passed in that look. With my life. Then take the shot. Nina. She threw her weight sideways, chair and all, away from Donovan's gun. The movement surprised him. His finger twitched on the trigger but the shot went wide. Vincent fired. Donovan went down, screaming, his shoulder blooming red. In the chaos, Jade kicked backward, her chair slamming into Anthony's legs. He stumbled. Vincent's men swarmed forward. Nina hit the concrete hard, pain exploding through her shoulder, but she was alive. Hands lifted her, Vincent pulling her up, cutting the zip ties, checking her for injuries. Are you hit? Nina, look at me, are you hurt? I'm okay. Jade. She's fine. My men have her. Vincent cupped her face. You could have died. That was the most reckless, stupid, brilliant thing I've ever seen. I learned from the best. Nina grabbed his jacket, adrenaline making her shake. How did you find me? You think I'd let you walk into danger without insurance? I had a tracker sewn into every piece of clothing I gave you. He pressed his forehead to hers. I told you, I protect what's mine. Possessive bastard. You're possessive bastard. He kissed her then, hard and desperate and real. Don't ever do that again. My heart can't take it. No promises. You do realize what kind of woman you chose, right? Unfortunately, yes. But he was smiling. A reckless, defiant, impossible woman who's going to make my life hell. And you love it. Vincent's expression softened. I love you. The words stopped her heart. Vincent. I love you, he repeated. I fought it. Tried to convince myself it was strategy. But watching you walk away, thinking I'd lost you. His voice cracked. Don't ask me to survive that again. Nina kissed him this time, pouring everything unsaid into it. When they broke apart, she whispered, I love you too. Even though you're a criminal and this is insane and we're probably going to get killed. We're not dying. Vincent's voice turned hard. He looked over at where his men held Donovan and Anthony. Because they're going to tell us everything about who else is involved. And then we're ending this. Tonight. Donovan laughed through his pain. You think it's just us? Vincent, this is bigger than you know. We were just the opening move. Then I guess we better find out who's playing the game. Vincent pulled Nina close. Together. She nodded. Together. For the first time since this nightmare began, Nina felt something other than fear. She felt hope. It took Donovan 3 hours to break. Vincent's interrogation methods were efficient and terrifying. Nina watched from behind one-way glass, Jade beside her wrapped in a blanket in shock. By the time Donovan started talking, Nina understood exactly how dangerous the man she loved truly was. Paolo Mancini, Donovan finally gasped. He's been planning this for months. He approached us, promised us a cut if we destabilized your operation. Nina's blood went cold. Paolo? My old manager from Romano's. Vincent appeared at her side, his knuckles bruised. You know him. He fired me the night I met you. I thought he was just a restaurant manager. No. Vincent's expression was grim. He's Mancini family. Old blood. They've wanted my territory for years but never had the leverage. He looked at Nina with new understanding. Until you gave them the perfect opening. Me standing up to you wasn't random, Nina whispered. He set that up. The Dover Soul being out was manufactured to create a confrontation, to put you on my radar. Vincent's hand tightened on her shoulder. Paolo bet on my curiosity, on me investigating you, on me finding out about your father and using you as bait. He knew your connection to Anthony would draw him out, and Donovan was already his man. But why involve me at all? Why not just? Because you're the chaos factor. The one thing I couldn't predict or control. Vincent turned her to face him. Paolo knows me. Knows I've spent my whole life avoiding attachments, vulnerabilities. He needed something that would make me reckless. Someone I'd actually care about. Jade spoke up quietly. He used Nina as bait to bait you. And it worked. Vincent's jaw clenched. Because I fell for her. Exactly like he planned. Nina grabbed his face. Hey, look at me. He didn't plan for me to fall back. He didn't plan for us to be a team. He wanted you distracted and weak. But we're stronger together. Nina's right, Jade added. This Paolo guy thought love was a weakness. But you found each other because of his plan. That's going to be what destroys him. Vincent studied Nina for a long moment. Then he smiled sharp and dangerous. You're absolutely right. He pulled out his phone. Marcus, bring the car around. We're going to Romano's. Vincent, what are you doing? Ending this. With you. He took her hand. Paolo wanted a show? Let's give him one. 40 minutes later, Nina walked back into Romano's for the first time since she'd been fired. The dinner rush was in full swing. Crystal chandeliers. White tablecloths. The smell of money and expensive wine. Vincent's hand was firm on her back as they approached the host's stand. We need to see Paolo, Vincent said calmly. The hostess paled. Mr. Stark, he's in his office. But they were already walking past her. Paolo's office was on the second floor. Vincent didn't bother knocking. He kicked the door open. Paolo sat behind his desk, his confident smile faltering when he saw them together. Vincent. Nina. What a surprise. Is it? Vincent moved into the room like a predator. Because I think you've been expecting us. Hoping for us, actually. Wondering when we'd figure it out. I don't know what. Nina slammed her hands on the desk. Stop. We know everything. Donovan talked. Anthony talked. We know you orchestrated all of it. Paolo's smile turned cold. Prove it. Vincent dropped a file on the desk. Bank transfers from your accounts to Donovan. Emails planning the warehouse hits. Security footage of you meeting with Anthony 3 months ago. He leaned forward. I have enough evidence to bury you 10 times over. The only question is how this ends. You won't kill me here. Too public. You're right. Vincent straightened. I won't kill you at all. I'm giving you to the FBI. Let them sort through your operation. Your family's operation. Every dirty deal you've made for the last decade. I hear federal prison is particularly unpleasant for mob affiliates. Paolo's face went white. You'd involve the feds? You'd break the code. For her. Vincent pulled Nina close. I'd burn the whole world down. Nina stepped forward. Before you go, I need you to know something. You thought using me would make Vincent weak. But you gave me something I never had: power, purpose, love. So thank you, Paolo. Thank you for setting up that night. Because it gave me everything. Paolo lunged across the desk, rage overcoming sense. Vincent moved faster, his fist connecting with Paolo's jaw. The restaurant manager went down hard. That's for using her, Vincent said coldly. Nina looked down at Paolo's unconscious form. And that's for making me think I was weak. Outside, sirens wailed. Vincent had timed it perfectly. Federal agents swarmed the building within minutes. As they led Paolo away in handcuffs, Vincent turned to Nina. It's over. Really over. Your father and Donovan are in custody. Paolo's operation is dismantled. You're safe. We're safe, Nina corrected. We're safe, he agreed. So what now? Nina smiled. Now you take me home. The penthouse. Wherever you are. That's home. Vincent kissed her in the doorway of Romano's, the place where this had all started, where a brave waitress had dared a mafia boss to hit her, and changed both their lives forever. The penthouse was quiet when they returned. Jade had been taken to a safe house with round-the-clock security until the dust settled. Anthony Castellano was in federal custody, facing charges that would keep him locked up for life. Donovan was in the hospital wing of the same facility. Paolo's entire network was unraveling as federal agents worked through the night. It was over. Nina stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city lights. Vincent came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. What are you thinking? He asked softly. That 3 weeks ago I was a waitress barely making rent. And now I'm in love with a mafia boss who just took down a rival family to protect me. She leaned back against him. My life is insane. Do you regret it? Nina turned in his arms. Not even a little bit. Do you? I mean, I did kind of blow up your entire operation. Vincent smiled, that genuine smile reserved only for her. You didn't blow it up. You exposed the rot. Donovan would have betrayed me eventually. Paolo would have kept plotting. Your father. He paused. Do you want to see him? Before they transfer him. Nina had been avoiding that question. I don't know. Part of me wants answers. Why he really left. If he ever thought about us. But another part thinks it doesn't matter anymore. It matters if it matters to you. She considered it. Maybe someday. But not now. Right now I just want to focus on what's ahead, not what's behind. And what do you see ahead? Nina traced the collar of his shirt. Honestly, I have no idea. The 3-month deal is done. Paolo's arrested. The threat is gone. Which means I should probably take my money and disappear like we agreed. Vincent's arms tightened around her. Is that what you want? No. The word came out fierce. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do in your world, Vincent. I'm not like the women you usually. Exactly. You're nothing like anyone I've ever known. He cupped her face. Nina, I don't want you to fit into my world. I want to build a new one with you in it. What does that even look like? I don't know yet. But I do know I want you beside me. As my partner. My equal. Not my employee or my possession, my choice. And I want to be yours. Tears pricked Nina's eyes. You're serious. I've never been more serious about anything. Vincent pulled a small box from his pocket. Nina's breath caught. Vincent. It's not what you think. Not yet. He opened it to reveal a key. The penthouse. Officially yours. Not because I'm keeping you here, but because I want you to choose to stay. Every single day. And if you wake up one morning and decide you want something different, the door is open. Nina took the key with shaking hands. What if I want something different right now? His face fell. Oh, of course. Whatever you need. I want to see Jade. I want to make sure she's really okay, and not just pretending for my sake. I want to visit my mother's grave and tell her about everything that happened. I want to buy normal person groceries and cook dinner in this ridiculous kitchen. And then, she smiled through tears. I want to come back here and fall asleep next to you and wake up tomorrow and choose you again. Vincent released a breath he'd been holding. You scared me for a second. Good. Keep you on your toes. Nina kissed him softly. I love you, Vincent Stark. Even though you're dangerous and complicated, and probably going to give me a heart attack with your lifestyle. I love you, Nina Ripley. Even though you're reckless and stubborn and definitely going to give me gray hair. He kissed her back deeper this time. We're a disaster together. The best kind of disaster. They stood there in the quiet penthouse, two broken people who'd found each other in the chaos. Nina had walked into Romano's 3 weeks ago with nothing to lose. She dared a mafia boss to hit her, expecting violence. Instead, she'd found love. Not the safe kind, not the easy kind, but the kind that set her soul on fire and made her feel alive for the first time in her life. Vincent's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and smiled. Jade wants to know if you're alive, or if she needs to kill me. Nina laughed. Tell her I'm very alive. And very happy. And she can kill you later if you mess this up. Fair enough. Vincent typed back, then set the phone aside. So, groceries and grave visits tomorrow. What about tonight? Nina took his hand and led him toward the bedroom. Tonight we just be. No plans. No threats. No performances. Just us. Just us, Vincent agreed. I think I can handle that. As they disappeared into the bedroom, the city glittered below them, full of danger and possibility and 1,000 untold stories. But this story, the story of a brave waitress and the mafia boss she dared to challenge, had found its happy ending. Not perfect, not simple, but real. And that was worth everything. We have come to the end of the story. Thank you for watching to the end. Share your opinion about this story in the comments below. I like getting feedback from my audience. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our heartwarming stories.